Hey everyone, welcome back. We're kicking off 2025 with a fresh new Nintendo Wii homebrew tutorial. Recently, someone in my Discord pointed out that I haven't covered this subject since 2023. Crazy how time flies. But honestly, not much has changed since then, aside from Priiloader getting an additional app, which I'll be showing you in detail shortly. I'm going to break everything down step by step, just like I did in the last video, starting by how to install the homebrew channel. Then we'll cover essential brick protection by installing BootMii and Priiloader, followed by performing a Nand dump that'll keep your console safe. For those of you looking to play Wii or GameCube games from a USB flash drive or an external hard drive, I'll walk you through the CIOS installer, which is pretty much a must for getting those to run properly. And finally, if you're tired of manually structuring your SD card, I'll show you the Homebrew Browser, a super convenient way to download emulators, homebrew games, and apps directly to your console. By the end of this video, your Wii will be pretty much set for anything, so let's just jump right in and get started. Okay, so on the console, there's a couple of things we need to do to make sure that this process runs smoothly. And to start with, we have our date and time. You want to make sure this is set correctly, the time and the date. If it's not, you're not going to be able to see the letter bomb message that's going to appear in here in a little bit. To set that, you can go into the Wii settings, well, Wii options, I guess, and then Wii settings. From here, go over to calendar, and then you can set your individual date and times. After that, you want to make sure your Wii is running on version 4.3. You can see I'm 4.3U. This tutorial will also work for 4.3E, 4.3J, and 4.3K. But assuming you have the same system version as me, we're going to go over to the next page, go over into Internet, go over to Connection Settings, and you want to make sure you have your Wii connected to the Internet. This is optional. You don't need to do this, but if you want to do the Homebrew Browser later, you're going to need an Internet connection. Go back. And the last thing we're going to need from console information is going to be our MAC address. This is going to look different per console, so you're going to make sure you write yours down, and we're going to head over to the PC after this. Okay, so now that we're on the PC, we can talk prerequisites. The only thing you're going to need to accomplish this mod is to have an SD card. Personally, I would not go lower than 8 gigabytes, but you can get away with as little as 4. Again, I wouldn't recommend it. I'm using a 128 gigabyte card, and it's already named from a previous tutorial. You can see WiiFlow SD. Your SD card is going to need to be formatted to FAT32. If you're using a 32 gigabyte card or lower, you can right-click the drive, go to Format, and you should be able to select FAT32 from this list and hit Start. But if you're like me and you're using an SD card that's larger than 32 gigabytes, you're going to need an application to help you format it. And that's where our downloads are going to come into play today. The first one being our FAT32 format tool. Go ahead and download this. Realistically, you can use this to format any of your SD cards, even if they're lower, so if you want to use this for that, you can. Now, the next step is going to be going to the Letterbomb site, which is going to install the Homebrew channel and BootMii and stuff like that to our console. Now, the main thing you need to pay attention to on this site is the system menu version. You want to make sure you select the correct one according to your region. Mine is 4.3U. And then you want to go ahead and type in your MAC address. I know I have mine blurred out, but you're going to type in what was on yours. Give me one moment while I fill this out. Once it's done, you want to make sure the box for Bundle the HackMe installer is checked, and you can cut either the red wire or the blue wire, it doesn't matter. After that, head over to the next tab. Again, all links will be in the description down below. This will be Priiloader, and Priiloader is a little different from the last time we did it. Now it has a Priiloader installer, which it had beforehand. Once you click on it, you can go to the Priiloader zip, hit download file. Then we're going to go back, and we're also going to grab the load Priiloader, and this is so you can go into Priiloader from the Homebrew launcher. So click on that, go ahead and go to download file under the Priiloader zip. Go back again, and we're all set with this one. Next up will be the CIOS installer. We're going to grab this D2X CIOS installer from right here. And going down a little bit, we're also going to grab this NUS downloader. So click that. And lastly, we have our open shop channel. So you can go over to here to Homebrew Browser, click on this, scroll down, and you can go to the homebrewbrowser.zip, download file. And for those of you who don't have an internet connection on your Wii, you can actually grab these applications that the Homebrew Browser offers from the site we're on. So if we go over into Library, I think, you can go over here into the Filters panel, go to All Apps, Utilities, Emulators, for example, and then pick the ones that you want from here, and you can install them all manually. But I think our downloads are all set now, so let's start structuring our SD card. Okay, so you can see I have my downloads folder open here on the right, and then I have my drives available for you to see over here on the left. So we're going to start by formatting our SD card to FAT32. For those of you, again, who had your cards bigger than 32 gigabytes, we can open up the GUI format.exe tool, and you want to make sure you note your drive letter. So for me, WeFlowSD is drive F, so you want to select drive F from here. You can see it even changed the name to WeFlowSD. And it's not going to let you format. If we try to do it now, you're going to probably get an error. If it says failed to open device, it's because it doesn't like other windows being open while you're doing this. So if you close both of these and try again, you should be met with no issue. Once that's done, we can close out of this, and we'll have to open up those folders again. So let's go to this PC. You can see I have my SD card here. Open that up, and we'll also get our downloads folder back open. And now we can delete the GUI format tool. We don't need that anymore. Now we can highlight all of our zip files, right click, and hit extract each archive to a separate folder. Let that finish. Once it's done, we can delete all the zip files, and we'll start loading in these folders one by one. So let's start off with Letterbomb. Open this up. And out of all these files, we actually only need two, the boot.elf and the private folder. So drag that into your empty SD card. Go back into your downloads. Next, we're going to grab the D2X CIOS installer. Open that up. You're going to notice you have an apps folder. Inside of the apps folder will actually be the app. We can go back and just take the apps folder itself and drag that onto the SD card. Go back. We're going to go to the Homebrew Browser. It should be the same thing. You have an apps folder. You're going to drag that onto the root of your SD card, and it should merge with the other apps folder that's there. Go back. Go into load Priiloader. We have another apps folder. Drag that onto the root of our SD card. Go back again. We have Priiloader itself, an apps folder. Drag that onto the root of our SD card. And then finally, we have the NUS downloader. So let's go ahead and open this up. And we're going to open up the nusdownloader.exe. Now, there's a couple of things we have to do in here, so just make sure you're paying attention. Let's go into Database, iOS. We're going to look for iOS 38. We're going to select version 4123. Open that up. You want to make sure this box right here for PackWad is checked. And then you want to hit Start NUS Download. Should only take a second for it to complete. And when it's done, you want to go over to Clear, and we're going to do this 3 more times. So let's go into Database, iOS. We're looking for iOS 56. And we're going to download version 5661. Go over into Start NUS Download. After that happens, clear it again. We're going to do it 2 more times. Database, iOS. This time we're going for iOS 57, version 5918. Start NUS Download. Once again, clear it. This will be the last time. Go to Download, iOS, iOS 58, and version 6175. Then hit Start NUS Download again. And we're all set with this application. Go ahead and close out of it. And in the NUS Downloader folder, you should have a new folder called Titles. If we open this up, all of our WADs that we need are going to be in these individual folders. If I open it up, it's just going to be a bunch of stuff. If we go back, the easiest way to search for them from this folder is to go into the search title, type in .wad, and these are the 4 WAD files that we need. You can just drag them right onto the root of your SD card. After that, we're all set. We can head back over to the Nintendo Wii with the SD card. Now that we're back on the Wii, if you have your SD card inserted, you can head over into the Wii message board. And if you go forward one day, or perhaps backwards one day, you should be able to see the Letterbomb hack. If you still don't see it, you can go over into your calendar, and you should have a message on the date that it appears on. If you still don't see it, make sure on the Letterbomb site when you did all this that you selected the correct region for your console. Other than that, if it's still not there, you want to make sure your date and time is set correctly. Assuming that you have it though, go ahead and open it. And you're just going to see it do a couple of things until a message board pops up telling you that this software is free and you should never pay for it. It's going to make you read it and won't let you continue for about maybe 15-20 seconds. When it's ready, it'll tell you press 1 to continue. And from here, it's going to tell you what you can install. For me, it says the Homebrew channel can be installed and BootMii can be installed, but I'll go over more on that in the next page. So let's start off by installing the Homebrew channel. You can select it, go to yes to continue, and let it finish. Should be pretty much immediate. When it says success, you can hit continue. The next step will be going into BootMii, and we're going to be installing both BootMii as boot 2 and BootMii as iOS. We're going to start off with boot 2. Not all consoles can install this as boot 2. If your console was made after 2008, installing as boot 2 has been patched. It doesn't mean you can't continue the homebrew process, but you do lose a layer of brick protection. But you can still install BootMii as an iOS, and you can still use Prerequisites, so not all hope is lost. Well, let's go ahead and install BootMii as boot 2 for those of you who can, and go to yes to continue. Yes to continue again, and let it do its thing. Once that's done, you can hit A to continue. Then we're going to go over to install BootMii as iOS, hit A on that, go to yes to continue, go to yes to continue again, let that do its thing for a little bit. When it's done, hit A to continue, and we're pretty much all set for this menu. So we can go to return to main menu, and then go to exit. This should take us into the Homebrew launcher, which it did, good. And now we're going to start messing with the Prerequisites installer. So let's go down to that, and we're going to go to load. Now this program is also pretty easy to use. All you got to do is hit plus to install once the option is available to you. And it should take no longer than maybe 10 seconds. And then hit A to go back. And now we have Prerequisites installed. Now we need to load into Prerequisites, and that's what load Prerequisites does. So let's open this up, go into load. And this is the Prerequisites menu. Now, just as an FYI for everyone, if you power off your console, hold down the reset button, and then tap the power button, it'll also take you back into the Prerequisites menu. But we're going to be adjusting some things. We're going to go down to System Menu Hacks, and we're going to be enabling a few things like block disk updates. That's a good one. We have block online updates. That's another good one. You can go through all these individually if you want to set some that I'm not covering, but I'm just picking the more popular ones. Let's go down to 480p graphics fix. This is for those of you who are using like an HD TV and not a CRT TV. Region-free everything is also cool, so let's enable that. And there's one more at the bottom. If, again, you're not using a CRT TV, you can go to remove deflicker. And that's about it for me. So let's go down to save settings, and then we can back up. And we're pretty much good with Prerequisites now. So let's go into BootMii iOS. This is the next thing we're going to be messing with. So once you do that, it should take you to a different menu. And from here, your remote is no longer going to work. You're going to need to navigate around here using the buttons on the console itself. You're going to use the power button to move, and then the reset button to confirm your selection. So I'm going to use the power button until I get over to the gears. Then I'm going to hit the reset button, and then I'm going to hit the reset button again. This is going to do a Nand dump on our console. This will probably take maybe 20 minutes or so. During this process, you're probably going to notice you have a couple of bad blocks. I'll probably have some bad blocks too. There's nothing really to worry about. And I'll probably show you after I speed this up, if I get any. Okay, when everything's done, you can just press the power button to continue on. Then we'll use the power button again and navigate to the back button, hit the reset button. And then we're going to go back into the Homebrew channel. So I'm going to hit the power again and then reset one more time. And now we're back in the Homebrew launcher. So if you have BootMii installed as boot 2, that menu we were just on is going to appear every single time you turn on your console. I'm going to show you how to fix that at the end of the video. But the next step we're going to be going into is the CIOS installer. So let's go up to the top, go over to load. Wait for this to boot up, press A to continue, and we're going to switch up some of the things here. So we have select CIOS. We're going to make sure that it says D2X V11 Beta 1. We're going to go down to select CIOS base. We're going to make that 38. We're going to go down to select CIOS slot and make that 248. Go down to select CIOS revision, and we're going to go over to 65535. Press A to continue, and press A to continue again. This download's maybe going to take 2 minutes, so I'll see you shortly. When it's all done, it'll bring you back to this screen. Just hit A to continue, and we're going to do this 3 more times. So let's go back up to select CIOS base. We're going to change this to 56. Go down and change the slot to 249. Press A to continue, and A to continue. Once again, when that's done, press A to continue. We're going to change the base to 57 this time and the slot to 250. Go ahead and hit A to continue and A to continue. Once again, and last time from here, press A to continue. We're going to change the base to 58 and the slot to 251. A to continue and A to continue. And now we are all set with the CIOS installer. We can hit the B button and that'll take us back to the Homebrew launcher. And now finally we can test the Homebrew browser. Let's open it up, go to load. This is where your internet connection is going to come into play, but I have to say the Homebrew browser can be kind of picky. If you can't connect to the network, maybe try resetting your router box and then trying again. It can also be picky sometimes, so maybe trying it 3 or 4 times, it might work on that 3rd or 4th time. It's happened to me before, it might happen to you, just giving you a heads up. Looks like it might load fine for me right now though. But once again, if you don't have an internet connection or just can't connect to this, you can download things manually, just like I showed you earlier in the video. And when it's all done, it should take you right into the Homebrew browser. Now, I'm not going to dive into this too much. I'll let you guys browse through this, but there is a media section, but the only cool thing really in here is the Wii MC media player. After that, they have homebrew games that you can go and play, like Wii Tic-Tac-Toe. What else we got here? Crack Attack, Shark the board game. Yeah, we got 3D Pinball Space Cadet. That's awesome. RuneScape, you guys get the point. Let's go over into emulators. You guys can grab these. For example, though, if you want, say, the Super Nintendo emulator, all you have to do is click it, and then click on download, and then it'll appear in the Homebrew launcher. I think that's pretty much it for me showing you this. Once you're done here, though, you can go ahead and hit the home button, go into return to loader, and from here, we'll take the SD card out and head back over to the PC, and then we'll start wrapping things up. Okay, so back on the PC, I have my SD card open here, and you can see these 2 files, keys.bin and nand.bin. These are your Nand dump files. You want to save these to a safe spot on your computer. I'm just going to toss these over to my desktop and let that transfer. After that, to save space on the SD card, we can delete all of these files, which is just the bin files and the WAD files. Go ahead and hit delete. And now finally, for those of you who have BootMii as boot to and your console boots to that menu every single time, your BootMii folder, you can highlight it. And all we're going to do is change the title name from BootMii to BootMii_disabled. Now that menu won't appear. Should you ever need it again and want it to appear, you can just change it back to BootMii. And now we are all set and your console is ready to go. Now you might be wondering, I have my console all set up. What can I do now? Might I suggest checking out one of my Wii Flow tutorials and turning your console into an emulation powerhouse? Even if you don't want to do that, I'd recommend you check it out and see if it's something that might be up your alley. But that's it for me, guys. I think I'm going to wrap the video up here, and I will see you guys in the next one. Adios.